Hey guys, today I am planting up a new drift. In this drift I already have some Florentina climbing roses and then I have some lilacs, and I'm just going to cover the entire thing in some zinnias, some forget-me-not, apricota cosmos, saponaria, and I think I might plant some amaranth in there. I haven't quite decided yet. We'll just kind of see how it goes. So this is red garnet amaranth. I'm going to be planting some of those somewhere. I don't know if they're going to go in this drift yet, but we'll see. I've got Thai basil in here, Siam queen basil. I'll probably pop in a few of those. And then there's some Mexican sunflowers. But I'm really focusing on some peachy tones in this area, so that's why I'm going to be growing the rose tea zinnias that we bred. And I think I'm going to do the pink forget-me-not with a little bit of blue. There's some pink saponaria in here. It's really beautiful. It's perennial. And then I've got the apricota cosmos. So I don't know if this is going to be too much of the same color, but we'll see how it goes. So this is the area I'll be planting in. I've already put some cedar mulch down. You can see I've got a lilac there, a Florentina climbing rose here, a purple lilac here, another Florentina climbing rose, and another lilac here. And I need to bring in some more mulch. For this area I ran out, and I'm just using cedar mulch. I haven't put any compost or anything down. Back there I've got tomatoes growing, so I'm just going to plop in, I'm going to make a bunch of holes and I'm going to plop in all of these sprouts. Well, not all of them, but most of them. So I've got this little tool that I made, and this tool is the exact shape of the plug trays that I use. And all I do is I just poke holes in the soil and then I drop the plugs in. I don't push them in or anything like that. I just drop them in and give them a good water and we're all set. All right, I've got all my holes poked. And now I'm just gonna drop seedlings in, easy peasy. Okay, I've got them all in. I ended up doing the red garnet amaranth, the pink saponaria, the rose tea zinnias, blue forget-me-not, and apricota cosmos. But mostly zinnias and amaranth. I did amaranth all along the back so it can kind of lean up against the fence if it needs to. So now I'm just going to water them in. Got some irises on the pond edge here. But I wanted to show you how beautiful this one. I have to dig these ones up because the edge kind of eroded and these are about to fall into the pond. But look how pretty this is. Oh, I love it.
Why we doing?
Okay, it's a new day and I've got pumpkins to plant today. So I thought I would walk through and show you what pumpkins we're growing this year. Some of these we grew last year. And here in Texas, I'm in Northeast Texas, we have to plant our pumpkins early in the spring. And sorry, I've got the sniffles, I've got terrible allergies. We have to plant our pumpkins early in the spring because it gets hot too fast here to grow pumpkins. And a lot of people around here say they can't grow pumpkins, or you can't grow pumpkins here, but we grow pumpkins every year. You guys have seen them in previous videos. And the way that we're able to do that is by planting them early in the spring and letting them grow all spring and summer and produce that way. And the earlier you plant them, the better. I've had these in these pots for a few weeks. You see they're turning yellow. It's still cool, they're slow growing. This is the perfect time for us to plant because they're gonna focus on root growth while the temperatures are cool. And then by the time it gets hot, the pumpkins can survive our summer heat, because that's the real problem is if you plant them too late and you're trying to time them right for fall, they will die in the summer heat. So if you get them established earlier in the spring, they will survive that summer heat and they'll produce pumpkins all summer long into the fall. You'll have plenty of pumpkins for fall and you'll have summer pumpkins as well. So the varieties that I'm growing this year are the Cinderella pumpkins. That's what these are here. And they actually look better than my other pumpkins, surprisingly, even though they have the same compost mix in here. And then I've got, let me see where are the tags on these. Oh, I didn't put the official name of these pumpkins, but I think these are like the Halloween mix pumpkins. So they're like a mixture of orange and white pumpkins. It's probably Fairy Moore brand. This one is a white pumpkin, or no, Winter Luxury Pumpkin, which is a really cool pumpkin. I think I got those seeds at rareseeds.com. And then this one is a Long Island cheese pumpkin. And this one's also Long Island cheese pumpkin. So I'm gonna plant all of these. I probably won't tag them out there, so I won't really know what's what when they start producing, but I will do another video later in the season to show you all of the pumpkins, and I will try to tell you what they are then based on the picture, because all of these should look quite different from each other. And I may start some more, but in reality, this is plenty of pumpkins for us, plenty of pumpkin plants. These are going to get really huge, and they're going to produce a ton of pumpkins. But there's a few other pumpkins that I might want to start, like some mini pumpkins that I want to start for Fallon. So I may get those going, and I may direct sow them instead of starting them in pots like this. So this is the area that I'm going to plant my pumpkins. It's a nice area that has really loose soil, and it holds a lot of moisture in this area as well. So this is where I planted pumpkins last year, and they just do really well here. So I'm going to plant them here again this year. I'm also going to add in a bunch of zinnias and flowers in with my pumpkins. That's how I sort of confuse vine borer bugs. So I want to do that again this year because it's been working really well for me. Here is an update on the irises that I planted around the pond. I planted 80 of these when we first moved here, and it was so worth it because look at this. Isn't that so pretty? I love it, and a ton of them still haven't bloomed yet, and a bunch of them are already spent, but I just love it. I love irises. They're all the same because I divided these rhizomes from the same plant. So it was one huge plant, and I divided them all as much as I could possibly divide them. And they're all uniform, they're all identical. They're really pretty, and they're spreading like crazy, even though you'll notice the rhizomes are covered with leaves. And this isn't a part shade area of the property. It gets shade most of the day, but it still gets plenty of heat and sun on the rhizomes because I planted them right on the surface of the soil like you should. So it gets plenty of heat and sun to get energy to bloom, and they bloom every year. And I just love them, and they spread like crazy. You can see there's like a little gap here where some are spreading out. They're coming further this way. There's a ton of babies in there. Some of these denser parts I'm probably going to have to thin this year. And it's about time because you kind of want to thin them every 3 to 5 years. And these have been in here for 6 years now. So I am going to come in this fall, and I'm going to pull up some of these bigger clusters and thin them out and just extend them out this way. And I'm probably going to have them go the entire way around the pond. And once I plant them on the other side of the pond, they'll be in full sun, and those should really, really take off. But aren't they so pretty? I just love them. And these are just a native, I think they're a native iris here. You see them everywhere. I grow a lot of irises. I have a bunch of different colors. But I just like these ones because there's so many of them, and they look pretty. And you're probably wondering why I would plant irises around the pond, because irises do not like to have wet feet. They're actually up quite a bit away on the edge of this pond. The pond goes down quite a bit away, and we also have sandy loam soil. It's super, super well draining, so it's not a problem to plant irises around the pond here. So eventually, when I thin them this fall, I'm going to go ahead and put them all the way around the pond, and it's going to be amazing. I'm going to fill in this little gap here. I'm not sure. I must have missed planting there when I first planted them, but they've spread there anyway somehow. So That's the update on the irises. You can see there's more over here. These are a little more shaded, and these were actually much smaller rhizomes that I put in here. There were ones that I wasn't sure if they were going to make it, but I did not plant any of these. So those kind of spread there on their own somehow. I don't know how they got so far away because the rhizomes are not that long, but they ended up over there. So they're kind of spreading themselves because they do their rhizomes kind of grow in a straight line. Sometimes they'll make a big circle, but most of the time, in my experience, they'll grow in a straight line. And so they're kind of doing that here. They're kind of just traveling around the pond on their own in a way. So pretty neat. So I'm working in this front drift again, and I'm so excited to show you guys what I brought home. Sorry it's a mess out here. Obviously I'm planting a bunch of stuff. I brought in these super tunias. Oh my gosh, they are the most perfect super tunia I've ever seen. They're very pale pink with a darker pink throat, and they're by Proven Winners, and they're called Super Tunia Vista Silverberry. And I think there's actually, is that all it is? Yeah, Silverberry. So beautiful. I'm so excited to plant these here, and look how big these plants are. I only got 3 of them because these were the only 3 that still looked good because they weren't being watered at the nursery. I got them at Callaway's. So that's all I had. I would have liked to have had like 6 in here and like really compact them in here, but I think these will spread pretty well if I keep them fertilized. I also got some Walker's Low Nepeta. I'm really excited to plant that. It gets really big and beautiful. It comes back every year. I have one planted in a different drift, so I'm really happy with that variety. And then I also got 4 little packs of this Sweet Alyssum, and it's in the dark purple, white, and this pale purple, and I just thought they were so sweet. And I kind of have a cool story about Alyssum. Well, not really a cool story, but my childhood home where I grew up had Alyssum growing wild in the grass, and it would reseed itself every year. So I'm kind of hoping that that will be what happens here, that it'll reseed and we'll have it every year. But I think it's so pretty. And then again, this is where Fallon planted her little dianthus and a pansy. So I also got the delphiniums planted in here. I got 3 of those planted in here because I have a ton of stuff that I'm going to be planting in between, so I didn't want to do too many of those. Next year I might do a lot more, but I think they'll look really pretty, and it looks like they're just starting to bloom. There's a bunch of buds that are forming in the middle there, but I want to show you one more thing. This is a rose that I got from Home Depot last year, and I forgot what it's called. I got it in the fall, I believe, like in October, and it has white underneath. It's so beautiful. It's doing really well. It's got a little bit of black spot, so I defoliated the bottom that had black spot, and I treated it several times, so I'm hoping that it'll pull through. But it's stunning. I just love the color. It's a little bit darker in person than it is on camera. On camera, it's oh, there's a little spider in there. It's showing a little bit pink. In person, it's a much deeper purple than that. So I'm going to go ahead and plant these right now. We just have a super thin layer of cedar mulch. We're going to do another layer of it here pretty soon. I just wanted to get some mulch down to trap some moisture in because this area tends to stay pretty dry, which is actually a good thing for everything that I've planted for the most part. It'll give me some control over the watering. But yeah, so the mulch is very sparse looking right now because we just put a thin layer over. We just didn't grab enough bags when we went, so we were gonna have to bring in a few more bags to get this done. I also planted some irises, and you can see that I've kind of brushed away the mulch in those areas, and I'll probably keep them that way because they don't really like to be mulched. They can rot really easily, and you'll notice that they're just really set on top of the soil, and on some of them I have a landscape staple holding them down. That's how I like to plant them, to keep their rhizomes above the soil so they could bake in the sun, and that's how you get blooms in the first year after you've planted new rhizomes. That's my little secret. That's it for this video. I actually recorded all of these clips a few weeks ago, so tomorrow's video will have some updates on the areas that I just showed you because it looks totally different. but I just wanted to give you guys an early peek at what's been going on.
Thanks for watching.